Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Citadel. It's a TV show on Amazon that, from what I've read, cost them a lot of money to make. So, as always, I'm going to give the good, the bad, and the furry. To start with the furry, there isn't any. Moving on to the good and the bad. So, this stars the guy from Eternals, Icarus, as well as he was the guy that was going to get married in the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones Season 1. And it also stars whoever the heck his female counterpart is, and Stanley Tucci. Stanley Tucci is always a win. Does an excellent job, as always. Fantastic work in this. He is by far the best part of this whole show. So, essentially what this show is, it's Pierce Brosnan's spy 007 movie that takes itself too seriously. So, I think it's only going to be 6 episodes this season. I'm 4 episodes in, because the other 2 aren't out yet. And I'm not a fan of it. They have the problem of, and you know, it was made by another Amazon studio things, but so if you remember the Terminal List with Chris Pratt and how, and I'll link to my review in the description down below, but like that was an excellent show, except for it was really fucking dark all the time, like lighting wise. It was hard to see. Like they got too aggressive with A, the lighting, and B, the like color correction to just jank down the light. So that was one of my big problems with that. And this thing, I feel like it was shot, produced, or cinematographed by the same people, because it's like they're like, we have so much money, let's get really, really creative with the lighting in this to the point where it's distracting and hard to see. Like there's a number of times where the light is just backlit. It's just backlit, and it's not the fun backlit where you have like the thing like shining over the top of somebody. Like no, it's poorly exposed the people that you're trying to see. And then there's so many other times where they're like in an office setting, and you're like, why is it so dark in here? Why? You have no reason to keep off all of the lights except for like the 2 behind your head. So that was really frustrating. And then, as I described, the problem with it is that it takes itself far, far too seriously. And it doesn't understand the tone that it wants to go for. Because it's these serious subjects, and there's traitors, and there's betrayal, and there's torture, and there's all these like hard things. And like the 2 main actors, so like the guy from Eternals and whoever his chick counterpart is, like they are taking this really seriously and just like not having a great time while doing it. Except for the flashbacks where we see Eternals guy, he's got this like, he's trying to be this suave like, like fighting people and like, oh, but that's okay, I've always got it, and oh, and then he gets hit and he's like, oh, but I'll just go through the pain, it's fine, and like, oh, you should have believed me when I said I had this, it's all fine. Like, he's trying to do the Pierce Brosnan thing from that era of 007. But that just does not jive with the rest of the show. Like, and part of why I say 007 is because they have some ridiculous tech. Like, there's at one point, one of the characters from Citadel is, like, they're just going along, and yes, their mission took place on a mountain thing, but then they're just standing there like, Hoo-ja! And skis pop out, and then they go down the mountain. And, like, in Triple X Xander Cage, like, that guy doing that, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. You don't need ski poles to do that properly, because you're fucking Xander Cage. But in this one, it's just like, did they CG out the poles? Was this CGI supposed to be believable? Like, it just, and then the fact that, like, yeah, we're just going to have skis somehow fit in these boots. It just doesn't jive. The tone difference is so stark. And, like, yes, I get that was before he lost his memory. I'm not really spoiling anything because this happens in the first episode, basically. But it happens where, you know, it's just such a tone shift. The person who got it right is Stanley Tucci. Yeah, he's getting, things happen to him, and his demeanor and his tone and how he comes at the situation and whatnot, he has the right amount of levity to the situation while still taking it seriously and like, yeah, there's danger or whatever, but he has the quips that make sense and the levity of somebody who's been doing this for years and like knows how to be in this style of movie where you're trying to have a good time, but also still have, world consequences type thing. And they don't achieve that here. So I don't really anticipate the last 2 episodes changing my mind about it. So I may or may not even watch them because, like I said, Stanley Tucci is the best part of this show. And just, it's so weird because, there's a big time gap that's supposed to have happened, but the technology is otherwise the same, except for some weird, random instances of super tech. But in the James Bond realm, you just kind of go with it because that's how James Bond has been established since the 50s. But this is not James Bond, and you don't have that just suspension of disbelief for weird integration of tech that doesn't otherwise belong in this very supposed to be believable universe. So yeah, that's my view. Is just the cinematography makes things hard to see, hard to watch. It's a bit too dark. The tone doesn't work, and pace it. Yeah, it's not great. But I will say that the fight scenes are pretty decent. They do a good job of having a bit longer takes. It's not anywhere close to John Wick. Don't get your hopes up that high. But it's definitely not the Bourne Supremacy where the camera's getting hit a whole bunch. They do a decent amount of fighting that still, is entertaining enough, and it doesn't have everything getting hit or the camera getting hit, that sort of thing. So if that still sounds appealing to you, give it a shot. Like I said, I heard Amazon spent a lot of money on this show, so maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did, but it didn't quite work for me. So I'm going to say thumbs down for me. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you the next one. Bye.